Yeah, we're 0-5 now, because our run defense made sure of that, as did our play calling on both sides of the ball. So we're 0-5. But you know what? I feel it, man. A win is coming, and it's coming soon. Hey, welcome to Hellraisers podcast. Let's raise some hell.
Come on! It's game time, but then it's more than the game. Yeah, it's my time, I'm steady moving the chains. We the kings, baby, but yo, we rolling, strolling. Ain't nobody gonna take the throne that I'm holding. I'll be bringing the boom in the southwest sun. Or we can do it at night, but there's no way you can run. I'm breaking bones, like the music busting them amps. When I hit the end zone, fans are rocking the stands. Cause I'm a sure bet, representing the town. City of the cross is my stomping ground. That's literal, so y'all better give me respect. When you up in my house, your whole squad get wrecked. Gonna listen to your people while they rooting for you. Cause once you all on my sight, you ain't gonna know what to do. When the smoke clears from the ruckus I bring, y'all had better bow down. You can call me the king now.
Hey, what is up to all my Hellraisers out there? Welcome to another episode 6 to be precise, of Hellraisers podcast, y'all. Thank you for joining me. I am your host, Gabriel Garcia. And that is me on the opening track. If you're digging it, go on and check me out under The Wicked One on Spotify. Anywhere that you get your music, actually, you'll find me there, The Wicked One. The song is called The King. Yeah. You call me The King. What is up, familia? I hope you guys are out there feeling good, man. I know. It's hard to feel good when you're sitting at 0-5. I get it. Trust me, I get it. Damn, I get it. Hey, but you know what, man? Hey, it is what it is, I think we're getting an idea that this season now, if you have not got it through the head already that, we just ain't going to do nothing this season, then you probably should start to, convince yourself of that. Now, it ain't over, like, technically, I get it, but let's be real, y'all. At 0-5, we would need a lot of help and to win out, okay? Just to make it to the postseason. And that loss to the Brahmas did not help. It did not help at all. So we are going to get into that today. And I got a special guest joining me on the show today. It's my boy, James Baker. He, some of you may follow him on TikTok or on Twitter. He's on TikTok at UFL highlights and _ highlights. And he puts up all these good videos, man. Good digital content. He is a creator. Following the UFL. He's a big fan. He is a big Renegades fan. So you understand he knows how we're feeling right now. And he can relate. Right? So we brought him on the show. I caught up with him earlier. So we're going to get that interview for you here in just a little while, man. Some good stuff. A lot of good insight, man. But hey, what y'all think, man? I mean, do you guys feel that what we saw this past week now is the norm for us? Like, are you expecting just to lose every single game? I'm expecting us to, I want to win. I really do. But right now, I'm not expecting us to go out and just ball out because I expect on offense that Luis is going to get the yards. He's going to get, he's going to get a touchdown, maybe 2. But I'm not expecting much out of our run offense and every game now. I mean, now I'm like, man, are we even going to get anybody that gets over 50 yards rushing? Because at this point, it's not looking that way. All right, we don't know. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes at practice. All we all know is that there has not been moves made to help out the run game. But the more I've watched this season, and some of you may agree with this, some of you may not. It's all good. But the more I've watched, I'm starting to realize that the talent that I believed we had before the season is there. I am right. A couple weeks back, I was like, man, the talent, nobody's, guys aren't executing, stuff ain't going on. But the more I'm watching every single week, y'all, I'm starting to realize that the players may not be the problem. All right. I mean, looking at Bob Stoops and his boys. Right? So is it the offensive play calling? I don't know. Is it the defensive play calling? I don't know. For sure. I don't know for sure, but I will tell you I believe it is. I believe that right now our issue is coaching. Let's just be real. There's been some bad clock management, during the week. I have decided to go back and look at some of the games, and I'm noticing more and more clock management is bad. Play calling has just been, it's getting worse every week. Am I wrong? Am I the only one that thinks that? I don't think so. It's getting worse. And I'm starting to believe without more of these moves being made, moves that could have been made before we were 0-5, bringing in new players. I'm starting to believe that Stoops is maybe on his way out. Is that too much? Some of y'all might be yelling at your screen right now like, this fool is stupid. He don't know nothing. Well, that's what I think. That's what I think. So I decided, to take to social media with a little sound off this week and ask some of you. All right. If there was one change you can make with the squad right now, coaching, players, scheme, etc., what would it be? So let's see what all of you had to say. Now, I didn't put it up. If you're watching on YouTube, over on United Football Media, shout out to all my counterparts, United Football Media, Brahma Bullpen. Yeah, man. Hey, thanks for taking it easy on me, bro. Okay. Great episodes this week, man. But thanks for taking it easy on me on your recap episode. Straight up, man. But yeah, so shout out to all my boys, man. If y'all got friends that are fans of other teams, y'all need to lock them in to United Football Media on YouTube. We got all the good content and podcast shows out there, y'all. We got one for every single team. So y'all be ready to ride with us, man. Y'all tell your people about it. Ride with us. Let's grow. Let's share it all. All right? Now, back to the social media sound off. Let's start with Rudy Waters. What is up, Rudy? Been following the show and supporting. Much appreciated. He says, fire the entire staff, including the janitor. Zero tolerance. No nonsense there, man. Man, what you got to hate on the janitor, dog? Come on now. He's just working, man. He's just a working man. All right, that's all he's doing. Ronnie Soriano says, start our third string running back. Yeah, it was, to be honest, guys, this past week when I'm watching this game and I started seeing what was going on with the run game, because that we started getting a little bit of yards here and there, and I'm like, what's going on? And it was Day Hunter. I was like, okay. He only had 9 attempts, 33 yards. All right. That's a little less than 4 yards of carry, but he did have an opportunity to at least get some snaps in there because they're trying to see something, man. So that was good. That was good. Now, let's go back to it, man. Joseph Glasser says coaching needs to go. That's all he said. I'm thinking he's talking about everybody. Clean house. That could end up happening. We'll see. Jeremy Clay says it's the play calling. Play calls I would change. Okay. I got you on that. Now, and Joseph Glasser always, he followed up his coaching needs to go with Stoops has been here for 3 years now with a losing record that is unacceptable. 4-6 last year, 0-5 this year. Stoops can't win as a professional coach. College, he was awesome, but not now. And he emphasizes now in all caps. So that's a message for you right there. And I can't say I disagree. It's hard. It's hard. You could agree with him out of just opinion, but if you want to talk facts, well, he just spit right there with some facts, straight up. Jared Callanan says, bring Darnell Stanky back. That's what he would do. John Hoffman says the D-line needs to be revamped. That's a good topic for another episode, if I'm being real, because I do think we still have talent on that D-line. There's a veteran leadership there, and there's some other players that I think that can maybe get an opportunity to show something, but we'll see. Maybe this week, man. Rudy Waters says the coach. Diana Miles says the run game is weak. Yeah, I know, but y'all tell me stuff that's obvious, man. I'm looking for more coaching stuff to support my stance. And here's my boy Kevin Womble, a.k.a. Jersey the King. He says Bob Stoops, Chuck Long, and Jay Hayes all need to go. Bob Stoops has been the head coach for 3 years and has never had a winning season, even with winning a championship. The talent, for the most part, is on the roster with improvements needed in the secondary on defense and the running back position on offense. The coaching has been horrendous, and the necessary roster changes haven't been made. Morgan Allison should have never been cut at running back position for sure, and Caleb Vander Esch needs to be utilized more. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, man. So, yeah, let's keep rolling. Let's keep rolling, man. Elizabeth Clayton says, for y'all, all of the above. Time for a reboot. So you're talking about like everybody, players and everything. Man, I don't know about all that, girl, but man, she's like everybody. Get rid of them. Gone. Mike Sanders says defensive coordinator. That's what he would change. All right, I'm with you, Mike. Pax Salinas says defense needs work. Been falling apart in the second half all season. Yeah, especially in the fourth quarter. The fourth quarter, late in the games, they have been very inconsistent, very. Joe Brown, what's up, Joe? He says play calling and team finishing out the game on a better note. That is. That's what it goes. But a lot of that is coaching, y'all. Like, you got to put your players in a position. I'm sorry, but I'm seeing these guys like on defense when they're on a big third and short, and Jay Hayes has them playing soft in coverage. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Why? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Johnny Pants, he says offensive play calling, period. Run, screen behind the line, punt. Run, screen, dump off, punt. Screen, run for one, sacked, punt. Jet sweep, 5-yard loss, run, punt. Thank God for Marquez King. The defense is on the field much too long at times. Yeah, man, I love that. Johnny Pants, thank you for that, bro. Yeah, man, so that, I mean, for the most part, y'all seem to agree with me. The coaching is an issue right now. And I think the more we're seeing week in, week out, it's starting to look, at least to me, like Jay Hayes. You know, he's the one that a lot of people are looking at right now and saying, okay, you are a problem. And Chuck Long, during this season, he's called a couple of really good games. I thought that Battlehawks game, he called a good game. I thought he called a great game against DC. But otherwise, no. Have not liked his play calling, especially last week, and especially against Houston. All right, something ain't working, man. Stop doing it. Stop giving RPOs every single time. And Lindsey Scott Jr. is out there. He's a quarterback. What do quarterbacks do? They throw the ball. That's what they do. Chuck Long, you used to be a quarterback's coach, man. Come on now. You know better. Use your quarterback, use his arm, because now they stack the line anytime he's in there now. Anytime Lindsey Scott enters the game, they stack the line. Because they know they don't even fall for the fake handoff. They don't. Because they're like, now you close in on him because he's keeping the ball. Let him drop back, man. Get somebody in single coverage and throw one deep. He's got a cannon on him. Give it a shot. I mean, we're 0-5. What else can go wrong? Did we lose? Oh, another one. Yeah, that's the worst that can happen. But I still think this team has way too much talent to be 0-5, but they are. Here we are. But there's talent on this squad, y'all. Like I said on the intro, I feel a win a-coming really soon. Does it start this week with the Michigan Panthers? Maybe. I like our chances. I really do. Some of y'all might call me crazy, and that's okay. But I do like our chances. So we're going to get into that, though, a little bit later on the show on this week's segment of Know Thy Enemy. But coming up, y'all, I've got a special guest that I caught up with earlier. So we're going to kick you that interview here in just a little bit. Just going to go for a quick break. And when I come back, man, I got my boy James Baker about to spit some game to you on the UFL, y'all. And he's good, man. So y'all be ready for that, all right? Don't go nowhere, Hellraisers. Thank you for joining me again. You know, let's keep rolling on and let's keep raising some hell. And don't go nowhere. We'll be right back, y'all.
Houston, we've triumphed. I've made it back to Earth with the cargo intact. The game-changing, time-sensitive payload is none other than the revolutionary energy flavor we've all been waiting for. Introducing Merc Mayhem Cherry Limeade. Merc Clan played a crucial role in securing this energy flavor, and together we've unlocked the future of power. Merc Mayhem is not just a drink, it's a statement, a fusion of relentless energy and bold flavor. The secret is out. Merc Mayhem is set to redefine the energy landscape, leaving ordinary drinks in its cosmic dust. Get ready for a taste explosion that matches Merc Clan's unparalleled power. Join the revolution, and let's unleash Merc Mayhem upon the world. Astronaut M signing off.
Welcome back to Hellraisers podcast. On my Hellraisers out there, where you at? Holler at your boy. I am joined right now by a special guest, y'all. Some of you may follow him on Twitter. Some of you may not. And if you don't, then you got to change that right now. Yo, everybody, give it up for my boy James Baker. If you've been on TikTok, you know he throws out some of those UFL highlights, man. Puts together some of that content out there, which I just saw your AJ McCarron one, bro. And that one was dope. Dig that, man. So how you doing today, bro? Thanks for jumping on the show.
Doing good, man. Thank you for having me. Longtime fan of the show. Being at 0-5, we need all the Renegades fans we can get. So love what you're doing. But yeah, having a good day.
I got to be honest with you, man. It's not easy, doing a show like this when your team just is not winning ball games, man. It's like, okay, what do I got to do with this coming week, man? I can't even brag about a win or nothing like that. So I'm hoping every single week it's like, it's coming this week, man. It's coming.
I think both you and I have some tweets from before the season we'd like to take back right now. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you, man, I have another podcast called Gridiron Nation, and on this week's episode, I was talking about it, and I said, man, like y'all heard me all week, all off season. I was talking so much trash, man, and I was just like, okay, I kind of need to go back and maybe edit some of that out so people can't bring that back on me, man. But for real though, man. So tell everybody a little bit about what you got going on, man.
Yeah. So back in really January, like early January, right before the merger was announced, I've been wanting to get into content for a long time. Started off when I went through college. I was actually a sports anchor for North Texas Television. So I had some like on TV experience, had some experience in the production room. But now, like, I finally graduated college, and so I have this thing called time. Because before, studying or working or sleeping, those are the three things I was doing.
That's it.
And so I was like, this merger's happening. There were a couple names being floated around, but UFL was the one which, like, I felt it in my gut, as well as most people. Like, it just felt like a solid name. And I was just like, I got to hop on some type of username. And so first thing that kind of came to my mind, well, I tried the league and I tried all the teams. Cause of course, like, I know a couple of guys which got the team handles, and I'll keep them secret. But I was able to get UFL highlights. And at the time it was great because neither the XFL or the USFL were posting anything on TikTok. And it's the fastest growing social media site right now. In fact, I think it's about to surpass Facebook in just like monthly active users. And we've seen businesses get launched off that platform like all the time. Literally, I know it's more of an entertainment aspect, but the Savannah Bananas, they weren't filling stands at all. And then now they're going on tours in MLB stadiums.
Yes.
Like mostly through TikTok.
Yeah.
And so I saw kind of the market there, and then started just doing recaps. I wanted to go through every single player, and so far I've done QBs, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends, and then had some computer issues. But next up are O-line, D-line, and then rest of defense. And it kind of popped off within 3 months, hit about almost at 6,000 followers. And so things have been going pretty good there. And then just got some more equipment, so just kind of trying to step up my game a little bit.
Yeah, there you go, man. There you go. And now, what do you think of all this stuff that's going on with the whole TikTok thing, man? Do you think it's actually going to get banned here, or you think they're going to find a way to keep it going? Because, like you said, it's so big, and there's businesses, nationwide businesses that use it. Like, what are your thoughts on it, man?
I think that all parties are going to stick to their guns until it's a game of chicken. And at the end of the day, all that matters is money in this world. So I think that ByteDance, the company which owns TikTok, they're heavily strong. They're like, we're not selling TikTok US. We're not selling TikTok US. And then right before they get banned, sure enough, some equity firm somewhere buys ByteDance or TikTok US. I just think that it's going to be a whole battle in court, and we're going to waste so many resources, and we could be spending our time on so many bigger things.
yeah, I agree, man. I agree. And you talk about the TikTok thing. Like, I had my Gridiron Nation show for 2 years, and I was not doing anything else except for Facebook and then some Twitter. And it was my nephew. My nephew's the one, like, Uncle Gabe, are you on Instagram? Are you on TikTok? And I'm like, no, I'm not. He goes, you got to get on. I tell him, nephew, I'm not, I just don't have time. I don't do. He goes, you got to find the time. You got to figure it out. He goes, because that's where everybody is at. And it's true. I started doing my reels and stuff. And so I posted on there. And yeah, it is. It gets a little more attention on TikTok. So I definitely agree with
that was kind of the key aspect I wanted to touch on. Because, like, I knew, like, there's a lot of podcasts for diehard fans. And, like, I love it. I watch so many UFL podcasts and have so many friends that run podcasts. But for the UFL to survive, we need casual fans.
Yes,
fans which are tuning in to watch highlights, tuning into a game or two. But they're not like us where, they're, every little thing. They know the long snapper's cousin.
Yeah.
But so I was trying to make all my videos, like, I was like max 2 minutes. It was like, in 2 minutes is even pushing it. If you can have like a 30-second clip that gets to 10,000 people, it's better than a 2-hour clip, which gets to, 20. And so I just kept pushing those short videos and just kept growing up and up. And what you learn is people don't know it's there. They don't immediately dislike it. They're like, in the past, you always got like, oh, it's minor league football. Like, who cares? Like, not the NFL. Who cares? But people have seen the XFL go on for a couple of years. People have seen the USFL go on for a couple of years and had success at the next level. And so now this time around, everybody's just like, oh, spring football's on. They didn't know it. So like, I think the UFL they really need to strike while the iron is hot, while people view it as a legitimate minor league and separate from the NFL, until a couple years down the line where people start viewing it as like NFL competition, which it simply will never be.
Yeah, and I agree. And I love that you said that about the casual fan, because I have been saying that since last year. When we had the two leagues, and and then even more so when the merger happened, and I've been telling everybody, you need, whether y'all like it or not, if this is going to survive, we need the casual eyes and the casual dollars. And I tell people that's because, the hardcores like us, it's cool. They've got the hardcore following, but it's not enough to survive in the long term. And I've told people that left and right. I said, like it or not, we have to try to get the casual eyes on this thing, because that's really where it's going to grow. That's when they can start expanding to other markets. So I really dig that you said that, man, because I agree with it 110%, man. Like, they got to get it out there to, like I always call, I'm just a football fan. But I always call the NFL fanboys are the ones that hate on this the most. Because they're like, no, it's not NFL. Not. They're like, it's horrible. It's horrible. I'm like, have you watched it? They say no. And I always, or their big thing is they always say, well, I watched it for 5 minutes and there's nobody in the stands. And that goes back to a whole other conversation I had with a friend of mine when I told him, like, they're talking about don't complain about the the attendance. Don't complain about the attendance. And I'm like, well, we kind of have to, because the casual dollars are not going to come. If they see that we can't even fill the stands, unless you're watching the St. Louis Battlehawks game, then you're probably going to get, like Garlington this week, they had 10,000 people there, which most of them were probably from San Antonio. But either way, like when you watch it on TV, the stadium's so big that you can't really, it looks like there's not 10,000 people there.
Yeah. It's definitely a fault with, most of the stadiums in the UFL outside of DC. Yes. But from what I have heard and from what I've talked to with people is I wouldn't look too hard at attendance numbers this year. I feel like next year is the key season because the merger this year was so rushed that we likely had to push the season back because we've learned that we're likely going back to the XFL schedule starting in kind of mid to late February next year. And then also for so long, like if you were trying to contact your ticket rep to get tickets or just really hear anything about the league, everything was all TBD. You saw teams get cut. We saw leagues merge, new email listings. The Panthers didn't have tickets for sale until like a week and a half before their games. But from what I've heard and what I've talked to with the ticket reps is like they have the marketing teams on both sides together for the full off season. So I feel like next year is really the make or break attendance. Whereas this year was kind of, we got the TV schedule lined up. We got everything on, top tier networks. Attendance is kind of, we're going to run whatever we can, but we only had a couple months to really push this thing out. So we got half baked local marketing, which I think contributes to the low attendance, of course. But I think that big things are on the horizon for sure.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it's, you won't start seeing the boost in attendance until next season as well, because that's going to give them a whole off season to know what's going on. They can, get out there in the communities and stuff like that and get the people in the community involved and knowing the team, which is very big. Now, speaking of team, man, you are on this show in particular because you, sir, are a fellow Renegades fan. And I know I'm not alone in saying this, man. It's been painful this year. It has been painful. Man, where to start, man? What's going on with this squad? I know it's not Luis, but what's going on with this squad?
It's not Luis, but he's definitely doing no favors at this point. He's had a couple of bad games in a row. But it's I'd say fair. It's not him. It's Stoops and just the overall, the idea of we're 0-5 and we haven't made any really true depth chart changes at all or adjustments. And last game particularly, we tried subbing in Lindsey Scott a little bit more, but we would sub him in the worst possible places for him. Yeah. Like, I don't know, we need 6 yards. Let's call in Lindsey Scott to run a quarterback draw where we get 1.5 yards. Like, and just the no roster changes. Stoops really just seems kind of riding out the rest of the year and then riding off into the sunset. He's really been my true issue.
Yeah, I agree. I think when I started, when we were about 2 losses in, I was like, okay, I'm not seeing like maybe some of the players aren't executing this or that. But as the season's gone on, I'm looking at, and I was going crazy. I was telling my girl, she was laughing. I was like, if I had any hair, I would have been pulling it out in this past game, watching this play calling on both sides of the ball.
Yeah,
offensive and defense. I'm yelling at the TV. We're on a 3rd and 5. We're on defense. Why are you playing the DBs 10 yards back?
Oh,
And then they're hitting a quick out to the sideline, first down, and moving the chains. And then offensively, like you talked about, with Lindsey Scott, I agree. And the thing that's kind of frustrated me the most with them using him, the way they're using him, is everybody knows when he gets the ball now, it's an RPO, and it's likely he's keeping and running the ball. And I'm like, start using his arm. Start throwing the ball with him. Get him in on some pass plays, because if they keep just doing this, I think everybody's expecting it now. They just load up the line. They load up the line when he's in there, and they're like, we don't care what happens. He's getting the ball. We're stopping him. And that was driving me crazy.
There's a few, which one of the big issues, at least on the defensive side of the ball for Arlington, because we can't stop a nosebleed, is just our roster moves dating all the way back to training camp. We let an all XFL defensive tackle and TJ Barnes go to DC for absolutely nothing. And then also on the offensive side of the ball, we let go of Morgan Ellison, who is now with the Brahmas, who ran for more yards than any Renegades running back would have had last week.
Yeah, I was when I saw him running the ball on us, I was like, oh,
yeah,
wow. Okay.
And so it just Stoops sticks with his guys, and
Yes.
I mean we're at 0-5 now. The season's practically over. We have to realize, Perez is getting up there. He likely doesn't have too many years left. Devion Smith is about to turn 30 as a running back. We need to get some of these younger guys chances. And so, yeah, I agree. We should be seeing Lindsey Scott a little bit more. But I've been a big proponent. I'm not sure if you've seen, but I really want Holton Ahlers, our quarterback 3, to get some reps in, because I feel like he is a good blend. One, he was a 4-year starter at ECU in the AAC, which is a higher level than either Lindsey Scott or Luis Perez played in college. And he played 4 years well. Then went off to Seattle in the preseason, played well there. And I get that he's a lefty, but Isaiah Winstead was his receiver in college at ECU, and also Noah Henderson on the offensive line blocked for Holton at ECU. Yeah. There's too many connections there. And I mean, 5 weeks in, and the guy hasn't even gotten a single rep. I feel like
that is strange to me as well, especially being that we're at, like you said, now at this point now, the season's just about over. Now we got to play for some pride. We don't have to settle finishing last at this point. We can at least kind of try to finish in the middle if we can. But I'm with you on that. I've heard a lot of people talking about Ahlers, and I'm just like, well, a couple of weeks back, I was debating with people who wanted him then when we were 0-3, and I'm like, man, come on, Bettis is still doing what he can. At this point now, though, we're not playing for nothing. So I'm with you. Let's start getting ready for next year. Let's see who's going to be here. And it drove me crazy, this whole thing with you brought up the Morgan Allison thing. And I was like, when I saw him get released, I was like, oh, okay. It was a head scratcher for me.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure that out.
And the offensive play calling is really just killer on this team, because when we've seen Perez put up all these numbers, but it's also because we have so many weapons. We have an all XFL wide receiver with Deontay Burnett that we all added with all USFL tight end Sal Cannella. We still got Javonta Payton. Lawan Winningham was making like OBJ grabs last year. And then, like I said, Isaiah Winstead, who is one of the fastest players in the entire league. I think he hit like 23 miles an hour on that first ever touchdown.
Yeah, that's right. He did.
And even on the big pass to Javonta Payton last week against San Antonio, you saw he had to adjust. Perez underthrew him.
Yeah, he did.
And
he did.
I don't know. There's not too many good things to say right now, and so it's a difficult.
It's hard, man. That's why I tell you, as a podcast host for the Renegades team, it's hard, man. I'm trying.
Yeah, but the talent is there. I even think on the defensive side of the ball, because like Donald Payne was an early season defensive player of the year candidate for me. I was expecting big things out of him, and I know he's a talented guy, but we have not seen it this year from anybody on the defensive side either. And so I don't know if it's
Beasley, the first 2 games, Vic Beasley had 2 sacks, so it looked like he was going to come on and start having a big season. And he's been quiet since.
Yeah.
And then we had Redmond with the 2 sacks a couple of weeks ago, and then he's out last week. And then I've been wondering, okay, maybe some help in the secondary, but it never came. We see all these teams making moves, signing players, and we just saw that Arlington is bringing back Joe Powell. First of all, my first thought was, oh, good, but too little, too late. What took so long?
I think too little, too late. And then also, like I said, we're 0-5. We need to be getting young guys a chance. And Powell's in his 30s. I mean, he was coming off. He was a coach in the NAL.
And that's a move that you make, like you're saying, like if you're in it, like we're
that's
in,
a win now move.
Yeah, exactly. And I think at this point, I'm with you. Let's start seeing what we've got with these young guys. I want to see more of Lindsey Scott. Let's bring in Ahlers too. I get it. Pettis is, but let Pettis try to mentor these guys. You're gonna be the king of spring. Then let's see what kind of leader you are. We know he's a good leader.
Yeah,
I just
and I'm
want to
not
see him help
I'm
these
not
guys
bagging on
develop.
Perez at all. Actually, I talked to his family right after the game, and I was like, we are like, no matter what happens, like we're so thankful he's here because one, he gave us a championship, and then
Yeah.
two, just by all accounts, an amazing guy.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's also kind of from this area, or well, he's from California, but I'm talking about when he went to school at A&M Commerce, so he has some local ties too. And then, of course, being our quarterback all the way back from 23 halfway through the year, you know, like, you can't just completely dismiss him, you know, cut him, throw him off the side of the road.
It's just, I
Unlike,
think it gets crazy to me when I see that he leads the league in passing and he's top 3 in all these categories. And then I look at the record though, and I'm like, it doesn't add up, man.
Well,
it doesn't add up to 5.
well, and everybody says that, but what do teams that are losing have to do? They have to pass the ball. That's why he's winning all these passing.
Yeah, especially when you can't run the ball, which we have
Yeah.
not really been able to all year long.
Yeah,
You know,
we've
that's been
relied
the
on
problem.
just throwing the ball, and then we stutter in the red zone, and then have to settle for a field goal at best.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
the play calling last week was just, you know, we're 4th and 7 in our own territory, and I'm like, well, why are we going for it when we've still got loads of time left on the clock?
Yeah,
I was beating my head, man, just like I'm
and,
sure you were, and I'm sure every
and
other
that final
Renegades
play
fan
too
was,
is
man.
oh man.
Yeah, it was just it's been a tough season, you know. Obviously, now let's look ahead. Well, not look ahead, but let's look at the wider scope now with the UFL and entirely of the league. At least for my part, obviously, it's looking like it's you know, Birmingham and the USFL, of course,
Mhm.
and the Battlehawks starting to. I don't want to say starting to separate because you know the Brahmas are right behind them. But man, the way St. Louis is playing right now, you know, they've got all their skill position weapons healthy,
Mhm.
and I'm looking at them and I'm thinking this could be the team that knocks off Birmingham first when they meet here in a couple of weeks, man. Other than that, of course, you know, the Brahmas doing their thing. But the USFL, on the other hand, is more of that's the one that a lot of people expected to Memphis to really be what the Brahmas are right now. And they're not. It's
Yeah.
crazy, man. So what is your outlook on the entire picture of the UFL right now?
Ooh, that's tough. I feel like we're pretty similar, except I have St. Louis as kind of my clear-cut number 1 in the XFL conference. I feel like at least DC, Jordan Te'amu has been struggling this year because they don't have any true wide receiver 1. They were plagued heavily by retirements. And then, of course, losing Abram Smith, they don't have that dynamic weapon in the backfield, so that's completely just killed them. And then we saw DJ Swearinger get released last night because their secondary got destroyed by AJ McCarron last week.
Yeah, that one surprised me out of nowhere when I saw that move last night. I was like, oh, okay, what's going on there?
That was a big one. I think he said that they were looking to get some younger guys reps. And I mean, understandable. Plus, he did not play well, quite frankly. But it was just a nasty game all around for DC. But I feel like they've been kind of staying steady all season long. They haven't really shown anything to impress me. Whereas the Brahmas are kind of different, where they're very hot or they're very cold. You don't really know which San Antonio Brahmas you're going to get. And watching Dormady with the Guardians last year, I feel like that's kind of a Quentin Dormady thing. Is, you know, he's either going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league, or you're going to wonder why you started him. And AJ Smith is a dynamic offensive coordinator, but I'm not sure if, like we saw in the XFL South Divisional Championship last year, if in the big moments he's really able to take that on. So I think that's St. Louis is the clear-cut number 1 there. And then in the USFL conference, yeah, Memphis has been kind of a disappointment. I mean, I wasn't as high on Case Cookus as most were, and quite frankly, I don't think it's too much Case Cookus' fault. Just their offensive line can't stop anybody and can't keep them upright.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see what Troy Williams kind of brings to the table, because we started to see kind of near the end of the game last week, which granted the game was mostly over, but Williams was pretty dynamic. We started to see his mobility a little bit, and he seemed to kind of warm up in that offense. So I don't know, maybe they can provide him spark, but I really think it's Stallions, of course, number 1, and then Panthers number 2. I think Danny Etling has been showing lots of potential, especially with his legs. You know, we saw EJ Perry kind of dominate the first couple of games of the year with his legs, and then sure enough, they have another Russian quarterback they can throw out there.
Yeah.
And then Houston, I think Houston's just as bad as Arlington, quite frankly. I think we're on kind of the same level. They just kind of caught us on the better day in their home turf.
Yeah. I think the difference between the two is that Houston, we all expected this of them.
Yeah.
Nobody expected this of Arlington, but I think with Houston, it's like, yeah, okay, we kind of expected them to be bad.
Yeah.
You know, and
yeah, everybody with Arlington, they had us around like 6-7. Like we weren't the worst team in the league, but we were kind of like mid at best.
yeah. And I agree with the Memphis thing, man. I was saying the same thing all offseason was because of the moves they made on paper. I was telling everybody that's on paper doesn't always translate well to the field. And for some reason, Memphis, I mean, I got people like, you know, part of my podcast network that I'm with United Football Media. These guys, they put out their power rankings every week. We vote on it. And I mean, a lot of them are talking about that even Arlington is still better than both Houston and, you know, Memphis. And I'm like, well, Houston, it is. But when you look at the Houston, like we played bad on that game, and they still barely kind of won that game, but it is what it is. What happens is what matters is the final score. So, but I'm with you, man. Like, yeah, I think St. Louis right now is just looking like the dog in the XFL, and it's going to be a battle for the final 2 playoff spots, which if Michigan is not careful, and if DC can just kind of turn things around a little bit, go back to winning some games, you know, but even if it's just by the skin of their teeth again, you know, they're going to be battling for that last playoff spot now that the playoff format changed.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so I think there's a good chance that the XFL, if DC can get back on the saddle and do what they need to do, they could be battling with Michigan for that last spot. And the Brahmas, it would take an epic collapse, in my opinion, which I don't think is going to happen. You were talking about the play calling with them. I think last week against the Renegades, I think everybody that watched that game knows that it was not a pretty game for the Brahmas offensively. I think what it was I mean, that run game just kind of killed us, so it kind of made it a little easier for them in terms of the offensive play calling. Of course, I wanted that game after what AJ Smith was talking before that, you know, but I was like, come on, man, give us this game after that.
Yeah, I actually got a chance to ask Donald Payne about that after the game, and he just kind of laughed. He was just like, "Yeah, people going to talk, you know, can't help it." Yeah. But yeah, it was funny.
All right, man. So now, real quick before I let you go, man, we got the Renegades taking on Michigan this week. Now that the Michigan offense doesn't scare me too much, but that defense, when that defense is on, they are wrong. So I'm a little worried, but I always got to pick my Renegades. You know, I always have to believe that this team is capable of winning.
Oh, same here. Yeah.
So give me your thoughts on this game this weekend.
Oh man, unlike you, I am actually deathly afraid of Michigan's offense, because we can't stop the run to save our lives, and that's all they can do is run. I mean, West Hills may score 4 touchdowns on us, but even if they're not scoring touchdowns, they still have Jake Bates at Ford Field. So as long as they're past midfield, they already have points. Yeah. So with the worst defense in the league and a kickoff style, which lets them get to midfield essentially from the kickoff, you know, I'm taking the Renegades, of course, blind faith, but I think we're going to have to score a lot of points to win this game.
Yeah. That's I agree there. I think we're going to be passing a lot. I think we could be seeing some changes at running back. You know, we saw a lot more depth coming in, getting carries this past week. The defense, my issue with the defense all year has been the inconsistency. You'll see them make plays, man. And they're making plays, and they're keeping us in the game. And then they'll go on this streak of like 2 possessions in a row where they can't stop anybody. And that's what drives me crazy. So I'm hoping this week, I'm like, I got it. My confidence has to stay up, you know, because I don't want to come on and I'm like, welcome to Hellraisers podcast. We lost again. Y'all ready to lose again this coming week? Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next week. I can't do that, man.
As long as we are pretty competitive and keep it within like a traditional 1 score, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 points.
Yeah.
I will be happy. Or not happy. I will be satisfied. I'll leave it that way.
Go. I think the key is we got to stop if in a close game, leaving time on the clock for the other team. Maybe hopefully this time we're in a close game, 1 possession, and we have the ball with a minute left. Maybe. Who knows?
All I know is we cannot let Jake Bates hit another 64-yard game winner on us.
Oh, please no.
because we can't go 3 games out of 10 with losing on game-winning field goals. We just can't.
Let's not do that, man. Let's not
My
do
heart
that.
can't take it.
Hey, James, thanks again, man, for jumping on. Hey, do me a favor, man. Let everybody know where they can find you. You know, I put it on there for you, but go in and holler out for everybody who's listening on their headset or something, man. Let them know where they can find you. Check out all your highlights.
Gotcha. Yeah, you can find me at UFL_highlights on TikTok, and then also on X or Twitter, whatever you call it, at James Baker UFL.
There it is, y'all. James, thanks again for joining. Hey, man, anytime you want to come on and talk some Renegades football, you know how to get in touch with me, man. You just let me know. We'll bring you on, man. Definitely loved the knowledge and the insight today, man. Much appreciated to you, not just from me, but from all my Hellraisers here at Hellraisers Podcast, brother. It was dope.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you, brother. And hey, y'all, I'm going to hit one more commercial. Be right back. Hellraisers, don't go nowhere, all right?
Same great taste. Yes, same great taste. Same great taste.
It's time I get in the game, forget the money and fame. Stay ready, making sure that they'll remember my name. I got a hunger inside when the numbers are tied. Yo, I'ma turn it up a level, never will be denied.
Welcome back to Hellraisers Podcast, y'all. Hope you guys were digging that interview. Thanks again to James Baker, man, for coming on, providing some insight, you know, from a fellow Renegades fan, man. So y'all go on and check him out on TikTok at UFL_highlights, man. Check it out. Share the content. It's definitely dope. All right, man. So let's keep rolling. Let's keep rolling because it's time to get into a little thing that I like to call Know Thy Enemy. Yeah, that's right. It's time to talk about the Michigan Panthers because we know what's coming this week. You know, we do. And by the way, really quick, okay, before I jump into that, I didn't want to get past this. We talked about the Renegades and Brahmas game, you know, when I was talking to James, and I just wanted to put out there, forgot to put out there, my Renegade of the game for this past week was wide receiver Javonte Payton, 7 catches, 119 yards, 1 touchdown. Guy had himself a game. He did what he could. All right. So gotta give him his flowers for that, man. I know he would have rather had a win than the stats. I'll tell you that much. So, but anyways, back into this segment of Know Thy Enemy, Michigan Panthers. Let's talk about it, y'all. Let's talk about it. Now, they've got the number 5 overall rated offense. Okay, when you look on the other side, that offense will be going up against the Renegades, who, not surprisingly, have the number 8 overall defense. We are at the bottom of the barrel on defense, y'all. And something's got to give. Something's got to give. When you look at their passing offense, okay, now I'm going through their offense versus our defense right now. They have the number 7 passing offense in the league. Okay, so their passing offense has not been great. They begin by with defense. You know, the quarterback will make plays when he has to. The kicker scores all their points. And of course, West Hill's running that ball, but so, you know, offensively passing, not too great. And then you look at us defensively, we are number 5, just below, around the middle of the pack in pass defense. I think it'll definitely help if our pass rush can get there this week. So that's going to be interesting. Now, I talked about Michigan's run game, the number 2 rushing offense overall in the UFL right now. And when we talk about, we all know, but I don't even have to tell y'all that we're at the bottom of the barrel in rush defense. Okay. Number 8 overall rush defense in the UFL for the Arlington Renegades. So this is one thing that's going to play a big part in this game, y'all, is that if we have got to be sure to get off the field. We cannot put them in these 3rd and short, 4th and 1 situations. Okay, our defense has got to be able to at least hold it down. I think what we got to do this week, if I'm being real with you, okay, Jay Hayes has to focus on the run, bring everything up this scheme this week. You know what? We're 0-5, man. Let them beat us on the big play if they can. If they can. Downfield. Leave our cornerbacks in single coverage if you have to. We have got to focus on the run this week. I'm saying go all out. What do we got to lose? What do we got to lose? All right. So now, and when you look at conversions, I talked about the third downs and the fourth downs. They're number 4 in the league in conversions, right in the middle of the pack. You know, we are number 6 versus conversions. So we don't do too well defensively. We don't do too well defensively against anything, but that's gotcha, man. I know. I'm sorry. But okay, so now they've got the number 4 scoring offense in the league. Again, middle of the pack. We are number 6 in scoring defense. So we do give up points. But this is not an offense, I think, that is going to kill us through the air, in my opinion. Okay. Now they got wide receiver Marcus Sims, 15 receptions on the season, 318 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he, to me, is going to be the biggest threat in the pass game. Okay. Now we got to worry about running back Wes Hills running that ball. He's 53 attempts this season, 225 yards and 3 touchdowns. So I was a Breakers fan. I'm a Breakers fan, man, from the USFL. So I know what Wes Hills can do. All right, so that's what we got to focus on, man. Danny Etling, you know, right now at 4 games played, 67%. But he's been kind of in and out. All right, he hasn't thrown a lot. 25 of 37 for the season. 1 touchdown. 11 attempts rushing for 42 yards and 1 touchdown. So he's going to try to run on us. We got to be ready for that. Will we be? I don't know. We're going to try, though. We're going to try. Let's go to the other side of the ball, though. All right? Let's go to the other side of the ball because I really feel like offensively, we are going to be a problem for them if we can contain or at least control the amount of pressure that comes in. Luis Perez is going to have to be at his best when it comes to how long he's holding on to the ball. He's going to have to get the ball out quick this week, man. You know, this Michigan Panthers, defensive line, they're going to be bringing it. They're going to bring that rush, and I expect them to put some pressure on Luis Perez, but I think our wide receivers can really get it done. Look for Winstead this week for some. I think Winstead can have a big game this week. Peyton as well. But when we look at the other side of the ball, so overall their defense is number 5 overall, which kind of surprised me. It did. When I was doing my research. Well, Arlington's offense is number 4 overall. But let's be real. Okay? Let's be real, Hellraisers. That's mostly from passing the ball. That's mostly on the arm of Luis Perez. Okay? If we can get a run game going, which is going to be very difficult against that defensive line, because they have the number 2 rush defense in the UFL. Michigan does. So it's going to be very difficult, but we cannot go away from it. You know what I mean? We've got to find some ways, man. Bring in some new blocking schemes, whatever y'all got to do. We cannot stop running the ball. Let this thing get out of hand. We got, if it gets out of hand, it's us. We have got to light it up on the scoreboard if we're going to take Wes Hills out of the equation. All right. So offensively, we have to help the defense by putting up points early. Don't settle for field goals, man. I'm tired of settling for field goals. Are you? I know I am. We get in that red zone. We got to find a way in, man. Time to start using Lindsey Pettis. Hell, can we fuse them both, man? Let's put Lindsey Scott's legs, you know what I'm saying, on Luis Pettis. Let's start using Lindsey Scott, in the red zone, but with his arm. And maybe, will we see Holt Nailers? Maybe it's a possibility. I'm not saying that we need to because Pettis is a problem because he's not. But at this point, we're 0-5. Let's start seeing what we've got because we got to start looking ahead to next season. You feel me? So now we keep looking at what they do defensively. They are number 3 versus the conversions. Okay? Renegades are number 2 offensively in conversions. So that's not bad. Not bad at all. It's going to be a good matchup to watch. It's going to be a key matchup to watch. How their defense does in conversions versus how we do offensively. Right? So now they are also the thing I talked about, that defensive line. They're number 3 in the UFL in sacks with 13 sacks on the season. And they are number 3 in scoring defense. We are number 6 in scoring offense, and that's because we get in the red zone and all of a sudden we're settling for field goals, or we're going for it on 4th down. Maybe at this point we need to settle for a field goal because there have been so many times that we're leaving points on the board or off the board, on the field, whatever y'all, however y'all want to say it. You know what I'm saying. You feel me? So maybe we need to take some of these field goals if we get in a 4th down situation. That's all I'm saying. All right, because the key is put points on the board and win the game. That's all I'm saying. Hey, Renegades, please, for all your Hellraisers here, let's get a W this week, baby. You know what I'm saying? So let me know what y'all think, man. Hit me up all over the social medias. And also on my email, y'all need to send me your questions at onerenegadesfan@gmail.com. Send me your questions. I'll read them on the show. And we'll talk about it. All right. Let me know what you think about what's going on with the team. And also, you can find me on X at the #1 Gridiron Nation, or on Facebook at Gridiron Nation Podcast. Hey, so if it's all Gridiron Nation, that's my other show. Okay. I will shamelessly plug that. Which, speaking of, I got to get that off the screen, man. Look, I'm getting used to I switched over my streaming this week, man. The guys have been talking about StreamYard. So I went ahead and did away with restreaming. I went with StreamYard, and I'm getting used to it. All right. But y'all can catch Gridiron Nation Podcast every Tuesday night. It's available everywhere. No matter where you get your podcasts, audio, doesn't matter. Whether it's iHeart, whether it's Apple Podcasts, whatever it is. You know, Spotify, it's there. And if it's not, let me know. And also, you can catch it on YouTube. Find me on YouTube. Yeah. Right there. Gridiron Nation Podcast. You can find me on YouTube there. I also have the Hellraisers content on there. And on TikTok at Gridiron Nation Podcast. I'm starting to put up some reels, especially for the Renegades work that I'm doing now. All right, so y'all just follow me on there. Look me up. Holla at your boy, man. And check out Gridiron Nation because I like to talk about NFL, other things. You know, I still talk about the UFL as a whole. And I'm also talking about other things, entertainment, music, everything that's going on like that in the world. The fun stuff, though. So y'all check it out, all right? But otherwise, you already know when it comes to Renegades Talk, yeah, it's right here, baby. This is the home for Renegades Talk, okay? Because this is, to be honest, this is the one place, the first place, right here, Hellraisers Podcast. This is the first and only, home podcast. I shouldn't say a home for the Renegades, but it is the first and only podcast for home for the fans, that is by the fans, for the fans, that is fully dedicated solely to the Arlington Renegades, man. So I'm very proud of that. And we're going to keep rolling with that until someone else comes up with a show. And then I'll just brag about being the first one. You feel me? But I need y'all to keep rolling with me. Let's grow this thing, man. Y'all be sure to follow the United Football Media, okay? They can check out all the shows, y'all. Share them. It's great content. My boys are out there doing their thing, man. Everybody's putting on a good show every single week, no matter what team you follow. Okay, so y'all be sure to check out all the shows from United Football Media. Now that I'm setting up all my new stuff. Y'all see my banner back here. I'll actually be lifting that up for next week's show, and that'll be the backdrop. Of course, along with my boys from Run DMC back there and Biggie standing there in the white suit, along with my little tidbit right here. So big things, man. Big things going, y'all. And I want you guys to be sure to just keep rolling on, man, and following the show, because I want you guys to be a part of this as well. The more y'all follow, share it, the bigger we grow. You know what I mean? And we can't do it without each and every one of you guys. So just be sure to remember that. All right. Now, 2 defenders we got to worry about this week. Frank Ginta, 32 tackles on the season, and another guy I'm very worried about, okay, especially as much as Luis throws the ball, as we do offensively, it's free safety Kai Nakua. Yeah, 29 tackles, 1 sack, and 3 interceptions on the year. Just keep those names, okay? Hopefully, I'm hoping, that the announced team on Sunday keeps their names out of their mouth, because if they're not talking about them, they're not making plays. You feel me? So that's all I'm going to say about that. And again, y'all hit me up at onegridironnationsfan@gmail.com. Send me your questions, all right? And we will get on it. Definitely read them next week. Now, before I head out, guys, just one more time. One more time, I wanted to go to the social media, because I put out the question this week, guys, that I wanted to know the same question I ask every single week. Where my Hellraisers at, man? So I wanted to know where y'all are from. We've got some new people added on to the group on Facebook, Renegades Fan Nation. Go on and find it. Become a member. I share all the content. Follow it. So let's go to it, man. Jimmy Hanna out of San Antonio. What is up, Jimmy? As I ask where are my Hellraisers at? Nicholas, he says, Deming, New Mexico. What's up, primo? Deanna Miles says, Haltom City, Texas. What is up? Angel Gallegos, my boy out there in Hobbs, New Mexico. Much love and much respect to you, carnalito. My boy Kevin Wombo, a.k.a. Jersey the King, out there in Las Vegas, New Mexico, supporting Las Vegas, Nevada. Sorry, we got a Las Vegas, New Mexico, too, though. Yeah, but ain't nothing like your Vegas, man. Ain't nothing like that. Supporting the Renegades all the way out there. Steve Garcia, he says Decatur. All right. Luis Santos, Mesquite, Texas. Kerry Lester, Oklahoma. Ted Hubbard, he's following all the way from Little Rock, Arkansas. What is up? Bobby Copeland, all the way from G-Town. D. Woodyard from Dallas, Texas. Much respect. Pax Salinas out of Arlington. Hometown for the boys. I respect that. Yeah, definitely. Joseph Glasser says South Carolina, Mississippi, and Fort Worth, Texas. I'm assuming he's all over the place, or he's been all over the place. It don't matter, because you can follow the Renegades from anywhere. You ain't got to be in Texas, baby. I'm in New Mexico. You feel me? And then Jason Cano says Hazlet, Texas. Becky Duffield says Arlington, Texas. Close it out with Jason Peter out of Frisco, Texas. Much respect to all my fellow Hellraisers, especially y'all out there in Texas, man, holding it down, going to the games every single week when some of us cannot be there, man. It's all one love and it's all respect. So it's time for me to get up out of here, baby. I am an hour in, man. It is time for me to roll. That concludes this episode of Hellraisers podcast, y'all. But hey, before I go, I just wanted to make sure to put it out there that yes, the team continues. They continue to face adversity. I get it. They do. And they also continue to, they're trying to win, baby. The players, the effort is there. I know the effort's there. We all know the effort is there. Okay? Just need some better coaching. All right? And hopefully we get that this week. A win is coming, guys. Be confident. I am. I feel it. Okay? My confidence is never waning, baby. Never. So, hey, Hellraisers podcast. Thank you all for joining me here this week. Be sure to follow everybody at United Football Media and go on and download the Fuel Network on your Roku and Amazon devices. You can catch on the Fuel Network. You can catch all my shows on there, Gridiron Nation, as well as Hellraisers podcast. All right, every single week, y'all. Go on and check me out. All right. So I'm about to get up out of here. But before I do, no matter what life's going to throw at you guys this week, just like the team, I said, is battling some issues right now. We're going to battle issues on a daily basis. All right. It just happens that way. That's the way life is. But, we're Hellraisers, baby. So what do you need to do? No matter what situation life wants to put in front of you, go on and walk in front of that situation. And hell, just raise some hell. You know what I'm saying? I am out, Hellraisers. I will catch you guys next week. Y'all be ready. It'll be up on UFM next Friday on YouTube, y'all. Episode 7 coming next week. And let's hope I am talking about a victory. My name is Gabriel Garcia. Thank you all for joining me. Thanks to James Baker, man. Y'all go on and follow him on TikTok and on Twitter, all right? I'm going to catch you guys next week. Hellraisers podcast, baby. I am out. Peace. It's all one love.
Veins, and every time they say my name, it's because I'm killing the game. Bring your best, ask yourself, do you know what you're doing? Go on and call your people, tell them trouble is brewing. Tell them wicked is here with an army of kings. My game is fully extreme, a human M16. Put your battle gear on if you think you can beat me. But yeah, I'm like Zeke, all you gotta do is feed me, believe me.